recognize, first of all, we'll recognize Nicole Bennett from the Maryland GOP. The first vice chair is here. So thank you, as always, for all your support. She is the hardest working Maryland GOP officer in the state, and there's no question about that. I want to recognize Delegate Charles Otto. Came all the way from Annapolis, this one's kidding, from here, and a great delegate from Somerset County, and he is the only farmer on the Eastern Shore that's in the legislature. So there's always thank you for Delegate Otto for the support. We got candidates here. Donna Bradshaw, she is running for delegate against Therese Sample Hughes, and we hope that Donna can finally get rid of the lone Democrat on the delegation, and we're working hard to do that. And thank you for your support, Donna, in coming. We've got candidates here running for county council. Kyle Cole, who is running in Council District 1. We got Jeff Merritt, who's running in Council District 2. And we've got James Wynn, who is running County Council at Large. We've got school board candidates here. Susan Beecham is running for Board of Ed in Legislative District 3. And are there any other candidates I've missed? And obviously, yes, lastly, of course, yes, Julie Giordano, my boss, who is running for county executive. So, so I'm going to turn this thing over to David James, who is going to MC this thing, and I want to thank everybody again for coming out. So, thank you.
All right. All right, everyone. So that means I need to have a rap if I'm MCing it. Hello, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm so glad to see everybody out today, and actually, we're not the only ones watching this right now. The 349 area is about 152 people in it. That doesn't mean 152 homes that is involved in it, and there's people who are really focused on seeing a change here in Wicomico. And that's what we're all about, change. Bettering Wicomico. I've got some questions here, and there's some that have been actually texted to me. Listen, I said this earlier, but I want to say it again. Our focus is not try to win for our party. We're here to work for the people. I've heard it said before. I actually heard Councilwoman Nicole Ackley, and I've also heard Julie say, sometimes in government we forget who we really work for. Here, this is a small business. Well, we do a good amount of business here, but it is a local business, and we appreciate all the support that comes from not just everybody here, but everybody here in Wicomico. Now, moving forward, there are some questions that we have for all of the candidates, and then there's some for specific candidates. Donna Bradshaw, who's running in District 38? 37. 37A. I apologize. Okay. Who's running District 38?
That's my district.
All right, what's your name, brother?
Charles Otto.
Okay, there we go. I just assumed that you were here. Nice to meet you, Mr. Otto. All right, I have a question for both of you, okay? Classroom transparency. And again, if you want to come up here so they can see your face, put a face with your name, please do. But classroom transparency is important. And I know that our county council has been kind of pushed for some of the bills to go across. And as I had a young lady tell me the other day, I wish I got her name, a lot of times it's introduced, but then it's shoved to the bottom of the stack. Can we actually count on both of you to make sure that these bills are actually being looked at better? Like one of you like come up here to say something about that?
Well, I've been in the legislature for 12 years now.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of times the bills do get stuck in the drawer in the committee. And being one of 141, there's not but so much that we can do. If we get more people like Donna and all in the delegation, we'll have opportunities. If we can increase the number of Republican candidates there, we can force the bills to the floor. And that's, we just haven't had the numbers to be able to do that so far. So
Appreciate that.
can we do it? Let's get more candidates such as are running this year to the floor, or members of the House.
Awesome. Appreciate it, Mr. Otto. Y'all come on down.
As far as education goes, yes, I definitely want to see more transparency as far as classrooms, teachers, administration, but I'm all for education freedom. I want to see money following a kid. If that child is in public school, those parents are paying taxes, they're living here, and that money needs to follow that child, and that parent needs to be able to make that decision as to where that child goes to school and how that child is educated. I'm not interested in a government body telling me how to educate my kids. I had that. I had 3 kids. They had to be pulled. I started them in private. That worked fine, but it gets to be too expensive. I stayed home. We lived on 1 income. Couldn't afford private schools, so we put them in public for a little while, and we found out that we had some issues. And at that point, we were only really teaching revisionist history, and I wanted to hear some real history being taught. Plus, they weren't teaching my values. I don't know what they were teaching my kids, but my kids were coming home with some pretty strange ideas, and I needed to squelch that because I'm a Christian, and I wanted Christians' values taught to my children. I want to see that money go to the parents. It didn't happen for me, but I want to see it happen for parents coming up now, because these children are the children who are going to make my decisions in the future when I'm no longer able to, and I want to know that they had a decent education based on what their parents felt was best. So I'm all for education freedom. I'm all for your transparency.
Awesome. Now, Donna, while you're up there, first of all, can you let them know where you're representing so they can get that face with it?
I am running for District 37A delegate position. This is a Wycomico and Dorchester sort of odd district, but it's just those 2 counties, and it's just certain areas in those 2 counties. It's a little bit odd. Okay. Cherise Ample Hughes currently holds that seat. She's a Democrat, and if you read her record, and that's a matter of public record, you'll find out that she and I are polar opposites. We believe in very, very different things.
Now, thank you. While you're up there, I'm sorry to cross-examine you, but what do you see, after you being elected, what do you see you can do to benefit this area?
To benefit the area, I want to see, I'm not so much as, hey, let's make a lot of bills, let's put in a lot of legislation. Let's roll a lot of legislation back. Let's get rid of problems that the farmers are seeing and legislation that's been put in to hurt them, to take away from their bottom line. Let's get rid of some of the watermen's regulations. Let's let them do their job. They know better than anybody what's going on in our waterways. You can't tell me that legislators sitting in Annapolis know what's going on in the rivers, in the tributaries, in the bay, what's being caught, what's not being. Come on, seriously, they can't possibly know all this information. And the schools, I want to tell you how I feel about the schools. I definitely want more transparency there. And our small business, I want to see all those legislations rolled back. I want our small businesses to be able to hire people to grow. I want to see stuff happening here, there, and everywhere. Awesome. Dorchester needs it even worse than Wycomico. At least Wycomico's got some expansion happening. Dorchester seems to be kind of stuck in a freeze. But I appreciate that Wycomico has welcomed me, and I've had a lot of wonderful support here. And I look forward to representing the people here because it is marvelous here.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh, law enforcement. Oh yeah.
Oh, come on back up here, Donna, so they can hear you. I want to talk about law enforcement. That's important.
Tom reminded me that I forgot about law enforcement. Okay, so a big deal for me is law enforcement. When I read Cherie's record on law enforcement, there are times I just my eyes would tear up. Like, how can you take these guys who risk their lives every single day? And I don't mean just police. I'm talking about first responders, all these guys who are out there doing this job, and you're going to handcuff them? I need these people in my life. I need them for security. And I have talked to a lot of people in the minority groups who are saying, refund those police. Don't you dare think that these minority populations don't want police, because they do. They know that that is the difference between them living a secure life and being able to provide for their children, and them and then those kids ending up in jail. And they know this. They absolutely know this. So I am refund the police, give them every bit of training we possibly can, and let's respect our police. Parents, train your kids to respect them. They're not the po-po. They're police officers.
There you go.
And I want to see them addressed that way.
Awesome.
That's how I feel.
That was good. Awesome. Just want to say, and I appreciate that, I just want to let you know that here at the Deli we do back the blue. As a matter of fact, this seems to be the top eating spot around for the boys and girls in blue. Appreciate what they do and put their lives on the line every day. Amen. All right. So I want to talk to the hostess with the mostess, Julie Giordano. Got a couple of questions for you. Just want to come on up and say a couple of words. Let's give it up for the future county executive.
All right, David, what do you got for me?
Well, go ahead and say a couple of words. What's on your mind before I ask the questions?
All right, sure. So first and foremost, thank you all for coming out and supporting. I always love doing events like this, and even though we are a small group here, we are a mighty group here. There are so many great leaders and supporters here, and so I just want to say thank you so much. People from the other side of the bridge, just that support has been fantastic. And so just thank you to everyone.
Awesome. Thank you, Julie. First thing I want to ask you about is one of the sayings that I love your catchphrase here, active leadership. What does that mean?
Active local leadership.
Active. Thank you.
Yes.
Even better.
Yeah, so active local leadership is something actually that my campaign manager and I came up with. It started with Action Starts Now. We kept seeing this stagnant administration, things not getting done, decisions not being made. And so I kind of wanted to show in the campaign that action was starting now, and we were, building those foundations and laying those friendships and, building our war chest and doing all these different things and showing how we were going to be active. And then from that stemmed active local leadership. And I think one of the questions that you had asked is, what does that look like? What does that mean? Look around, but this is what it means, is that you have a group of people around you that want to make a difference. And you are bringing in people from Fruitland, from Delmar, from the west side, from the east side. And so you have all of the county kind of supporting you. And so that idea of active is just getting out and engaging the community, talking to leaders, formulating these friendships and laying the foundation for a strong leadership.
And one thing I've actually noticed, I was taking pictures earlier, and I didn't have to ask you. I didn't have to ask you to look busy because you were definitely talking to everybody. We appreciate that. I want to throw in something. I had actually one of the people who are running against you. Someone in their campaign actually spoke to me and said because this business supports Julie Giordano that they stopped coming here. Now, when you were elected, those that did not support you during this time, can they still, count on you to be their executive, or will you shun them?
Oh, no. No, absolutely. And I'm not going to be everybody's cup of tea, and I know that. But I'm really hoping to show that it's not about, the partisanship, especially when you become in this office. This is an office for everyone. And every single person, it doesn't matter if they're a Democrat or Republican or Libertarian or whatever, however they identify themselves politically.
Right.
It's about the citizens. And it's about what you're going to be as a leader for all people.
Phenomenal. How will your administration benefit small businesses?
Well, supporting them. You see where we are right now.
Yeah,
So, giving Steve the opportunity to host us and allowing us to come in. But we are a big proponent of small businesses. I think I have a great list of people who support me. And the thing is that it's going to be that voice, fighting for our small businesses here. We have horrible regulations coming out of Annapolis and Washington, and I think it's going to take this active local leadership to be a voice for them. Hopefully we'll be able to stop some of them, be able to at least put a halt on some of them. And I'm hoping to work with our delegation and our senators to be able to show support, from Wacomico County.
Phenomenal. Now, of course, you are in several chats that I'm involved with, and a lot of times, as we're here on Nanticoke Road, those that are going back towards Whitehaven areas, a lot of times they seem to have gotten overlooked over the years. How will you keep the connection with them? After the election, can we count on you to still be coming out and talking to us?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And plus, we've talked about this as well. One idea actually is that the East Side actually has the East Side Chamber of Commerce. I'd really like to see a West Side Chamber of Commerce, or at least an organization where you do have representation. District 2, Jeff obviously already knows this, is a very large district. It stretches all the way up from Sharptown, all the way down to Whitehaven, and all the way down to the west side. So you have a lot of area to cover. And little towns and little pockets of people do kind of, get lost in the sauce, so it's going to be super important to be able to let their voices be heard. And so I would like to see some sort of organization, for them down on the west side.
Awesome. Thank you. I may ask you questions later, but we'll let you sit down for a little bit.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I had to think of the arrangement of this next group of things we're going to talk about. I want to say something. A lot of times people think that a party represents a group of people. A lot of people don't believe that the Republican Party can represent the black or minority population, which I find very untrue. Very untrue. I am a Republican and think I'm darker color. But you know, the thing is that I know when you stand for truth, it doesn't matter what your color of skin is. I don't know if Mrs. Bennett wants to come speak, but she's actually, you're the vice president of the local Republican Party, am I correct?
I'm the first vice chairman of the state party.
Oh, but come on down here.
I work hard for that fight.
Come on down. I appreciate it.
I know you do.
Can you let them know again what you represent?
Good morning. My name is Nicole Bennett. I am the first vice chairman of the Maryland Republican Party. I'm the chairman of the Maryland Black Republicans. I'm on the board of directors of the Jewish Republican Council.
Ooh.
And I've recently stolen the Republican Latina Facebook page. So you may see
Hey.
me. I am very much enjoying it.
Amen.
Julie Giordano is my friend.
Mm-hmm.
Before she decided to run for county executive, we had a little lunch, and she is absolutely the right person for the job. When we talk about someone in leadership who loves your community, it makes the difference. It makes a difference. There is no, I'm never going to eat here because you may favor another candidate. It's a small business in the community that you love.
Right.
It speaks volumes about her character, and character counts. When we talk about Republicans of any color, character counts. Do what you say you're going to do. Live up to your promises and to your word, and Julie Giordano does that. Donna Bradshaw does that. Barry Beecham does that. James Wynn does that. I say that as someone who does not live here but has a business, a newer business here in Wycomico. And I've had the opportunity to work with these candidates one-on-one and in a group. There's nothing like the energy that you get from people who actually love this community, who wants this community to succeed. This is your chance, Wycomico. This is your chance to get the leadership that you deserve, to build the community that you want to live in. Don't waste this opportunity to get a better Wycomico for everyone,
Right.
not just a hand-selected few.
That's awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it. I'm going to talk to you a little bit later on. All right. Once you talk, have my friend, colleague over here, Kyle Cole, come up and talk. He's running in District 1, which I'm going to say it. It's a very gerrymandered district. Okay. It's not based upon the population, but more about the demographic. He's not, in the district he's in is considered the minority district, but I think it'd be great to be known as District 1 of Wycomico County. Kyle, can you come up real quickly and share a little bit before I ask you a couple questions?
Well, as David said, my name's Kyle Cole. I live in District 1 in town of Hebron. I've served District 1 since I was 16 years old as a cadet with Salisbury Fire Department. Then when I was 18, joined Hebron Fire Department, where I resigned in 2020. Right now, I work full-time as a firefighter EMT for Dorchester County, our neighboring county. And we do often come into Wycomico to assist out. But one thing my job has taught me, don't judge anybody by their color. Judge them by their person. So I'm running because I hated always being referred to as the minority district. I didn't even know who my councilman was until I actually decided I wanted to run, because I've never met him. Well, I've met him, but at the racetrack, not as a representative of me. I want to put the voice back in the people, and that's everybody, no matter who you are. District 1, I want to represent everybody.
Awesome. Kyle, let me ask you about the DAF tank situation over in your area.
Oh, you got the hard question.
Hey, so the first thing I want to ask you is, are you for them or against them?
So, I understand the concept of them. It helps the farmers with fertilization, but the DAF tanks are absolutely disgusting. On a hot summer day, I can smell it at my house, and I'm over 3 miles away from the actual DAF tank. They are horrible for the environment. They're horrible, just nasty in general. The ones that are up right now, we can't do anything about. They're already here, they've been voted upon. But I will support of not building any more here in this county until something is figured out how to make them safer for the environment, make them safer for everybody's health.
Okay, awesome. Now, staying on that same topic, as far as the ones they have, what do you propose they do with those? Because we can't get rid of them because they already got the permit for them. What do you propose that they do about them?
Really, there's not much we can do about them. We probably possibly put regulations on them and see if there's a way to make them safer, which I don't know if there are because they're open DAF tanks, not enclosed like what Valley Protein Liquid has, where they only release the gases once in a while just so they don't combust. So I would have to look into it and see what can be done about it.
Awesome. And last question for right now, anyway. The EMTs, you're EMT yourself.
Right.
What do you see that our EMTs and our fire departments need the most right now?
So right now, a major problem with all first responders across the field, no matter where you're at, is recruitment and retention. There's not enough funding. Nobody wants to actually go to school to become an EMT anymore or a paramedic when you can go to school and make twice as much doing something else. The pay for EMS is extremely low. Pay for firefighters is extremely low. So if I'm elected, I'll make sure that all the fire departments in Wycomico County has the proper funding in order to hire more firefighters, hire EMTs, get the volunteers back wanting to actually volunteer. Because right now, when I resigned from Hebron, pretty much 75% of the active list is 50 and above. So the volunteer system is starting to become a thing of the past, unfortunately. I'm seeing it everywhere.
Okay. I think that'd be the last question for right now. Thank you. Appreciate that, Kyle. I don't know if you noticed, but over here you had an amen section. My assistant over here, Taylor, is actually a nurse at the hospital, and she can tell you. I've talked to her. You became a nurse. You actually became an RN 7 months ago, maybe?
Oh no, I've been at PRMC for a year now.
Oh, it's been a whole year. Awesome. Now, one thing she has seen though during that time is a lot of nurses and other people going to other counties because of.
Just really, well, not necessarily other counties, but we're just having a hard time with staffing and keeping staff.
Can y'all hear her? She doesn't like to come on camera. If I have to, I can bring this over there to her. Here you go. Oh, will you come up? Come up if you want.
I'm camera shy.
Okay. Go ahead.
A big problem that we've had at the hospital, and again with all other like first responders and people that work in healthcare, is just like he was saying, staffing, keeping people. A lot of people are leaving healthcare. Yeah. We're even having a hard time keeping travel nurses right now because of the housing crisis. Yeah, we had one nurse that came from Kentucky, no, she's from Alabama, and she ended up having to stay in a hotel during her whole contract because there was nowhere for her to stay. But I don't know, I'm not a good speaker.
Are you finding that one of the reasons they're leaving is because of vaccine mandates? I mean, you were on the front lines during COVID, so you were exposed to it before they even knew COVID was COVID. And now they're saying you've got to have the jab in order to keep the job. I'm sorry, I personally don't agree with that. And are you finding that to be a major contributing factor?
That's some of it. We have lost a few nurses due to that. It hasn't, most people just got it anyway. I mean, if we had a way to get exempt, then a lot of people did get exempt. But I feel like it should be more of a choice.
Okay. Thank you. And I appreciate it. I didn't hear the question. I had to step out for a second, but about the COVID vaccine, yeah, that
Can I
definitely
ask
should
you
be
a question? I've got a lot of friends nationwide. statewide, and yeah, we lost a lot of nurses, a lot of teachers just because of the vaccine mandate that they had to have in order to keep their jobs. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy that a lot of people are fighting for choice in other areas, but not choice in that area. Thank you. You know, I also want to say something else about that. We're losing people to other counties. You know, Julie, this is something that's going to be right up your alley. That's okay. I'm not going to pull you up here, but we got to find a way of retaining our people, of getting our people to stay here. It's a beautiful place to live. It's also a beautiful place to work. It's a beautiful place to start a business. I mean, I'm a minister and I'm starting a daughter work, and it's a beautiful place for that. But we have to find a way of keeping our people here and not trying to make government so much in control of everything, if that makes sense. I want to bring up a dear brother of mine that I've known most of his life. I think actually, yeah, most of his life. And, you know, I really like him because he's an outdoorsman. He's a man who understands about the water community, the watermen. I'm from Weetipwin. If you don't know where that is, it's down there. Okay, they had to pump daylight to us, but you know, a lot of times people forget that this county used to rely so much on our waterways, and it still can. I do believe that there's places down there that could actually. We had Nanticoke seafood gone. You know, we had a lot of crabbers that would just come in with, you know, boatloads of crabs gone. So we definitely need someone who knows about, you know, shooting a couple of ducks and being out there in the county council to represent us. With that in mind, could I have James Wynn? He's running for a county council at large. Can I have you come up for a few moments, my brother? Give me a hand, please.
As you were saying that, I was like, who's he talking about? Like, I've known David for a long time. You know, we went to the same church together a long time ago, and I was like, man, this guy sounds familiar. Turns out it's me. Well, my name's James Wayne, and I am running for county council at large. Are there any questions you have for me?
Well, I know you've done a lot of touring around Waikamaco. What have you seen being one of the major concerns?
Well, the big concern, I've been to a lot of fire departments, and as Kyle was saying, we do have problems with retention and recruitment and funding. A lot of these fire departments, they just need help funding. And I mean, when you go, like last night, we were in Willards. We were at a state dinner, and they have to do these dinners, and they have to do these bingo nights, and they have to do these cow plops and chicken, whatever you call them. It was pretty funny. But
watermelon seed spit-offs.
Yeah, and they have to do all this in order to take care of us, and it's kind of backwards. I mean, we're paying taxes.
Wow.
For their services, and they're still having to volunteer to raise money, and we need to help them out. We need to do what our tax dollars are absolutely for. We should give them the tax money so they can focus on retaining and recruiting instead of funding. The funding, if we could take that off their hands, I mean, the amount of work they could do and the stress, you know, just the stress of that alone, just trying to find money. They shouldn't have to worry about that. I know I'm running this campaign, and, you know, just finding money for that is stressful. And if I didn't have to worry about that, we would be bam, bam, bam. I'd be at every door. But, you know, I get the money thing, and it's important that we do take care of our firemen. And not just firemen, but our EMS and our police officers. They just passed this police accountability board, and you know, it's something that is passed, right? But when we go ahead and approve members to be on the board, we shouldn't rubber stamp it. We should be investigating who these people are. I was at the police accountability board, and they just passed this board, and I was like looking at the people. I'm like, I know one of the guys. I know he's very conservative. I know who this guy is. I trust him. But then I saw a couple other people, and I was like, man, I don't know about these people. So I called Scott Hamilton at the FOP Lodge. He's the chair, and I said, did the county executive or anyone reach out to you about this board? And he said, no, not at all. And I was like, this isn't right. You know, they didn't even have a chance to investigate these people.
Right.
So, I mean, we've got, like, as Julie said at the forum the other night, we've got people they're only going to have 40 hours of training, right? And they're going to be judging our police officers and saying, hey, look, you did this wrong. Well, they didn't understand the law, you know? So how can we go ahead and give these people authority over top of police officers and deputies that have been, you know, in the line of duty their entire lives, and they have to make a split-second decision within a couple seconds, and their life and career is on the line of somebody that got a 40-hour education. I mean, that to me is unacceptable. We need to be thoroughly looking over these people and saying, bam, we're going to accept them. Bam, just next topic was, you know, no, we need to send those people back, and we need to go ahead and ask the FOP and other people of, you know, good standing. We need to get, as Kevin was just here, he was saying that we need to get somebody from different parts of the communities, a couple pastors, a couple business owners, you know, and police officers that have been in the line of work.
Absolutely.
Maybe some first responders, you know.
No
it needs to
balance.
be a diverse community of people that understand service and serving. And that board that was passed, I didn't see that. And as a council member, that wouldn't be something I would accept. That's just not going to happen. Those are a few issues. You mentioned the DAF tank, and that's a concern for a lot of communities because when you build a DAF tank, you know, the smell resonates around it, and I understand the need for the DAF tank, and I understand that we can't impede on the right to farm, but at the same time, you know, you shouldn't build one of those right next to somebody's house,
Right.
and expect them not to complain about it.
Right.
So,
right,
and you were
right.
asking, what can we do? I mean, you know, the person that's living right next to the house should get some sort of tax break. I mean, it's not fair. I mean, it ruined their. It's not chicken houses. Okay, I know the chicken houses. I got 4 of them across the street from my parents' house. Okay, we can tolerate that, you know. But the DAF tank, when that thing swings over top of your house, I mean, it's rough, you know.
Wow. Yeah.
I've been there several times. I've got videos of myself there, and I'm like, you know, it's not bad when the wind's blowing in your favor, but when the wind turns, man, you better hit the road, Jack.
Wow.
Right. But anyway,
right.
you know, there's lots of topics. I've only been involved since Christmas, and I can't believe I've been running this race that long. It's almost getting ready to be Christmas again. Julie's been running this race since October.
She's been speed running it.
And what month is it now? It's October,
yeah.
right? October 23rd, I believe, is when you announced your candidacy, and she had a great turnout there. And we need to have that come around and finish this with a slam dunk. And we'll see what happens. We're learning this county and community day in and day out. I've learned so much because of this race. And I mean, I don't think I would not do this again, even though it's put a stress on me, put a stress on my family, put a stress on my business. But this experience was worth it. And this is what people need to do. And people need to give back to their community, because if we don't, who will? That's the question. Who will give back? I don't want to take up any more of your time.
Well,
Thank you all.
you're good. Actually, you're so good that I didn't have many questions because you answered them all. However, I do have a couple of things I want to ask you. At the last, or maybe 2 county councils ago, you went up and spoke about, I think you went to Roaring Point, and you noticed the trash everywhere. Now, you've been touring this beautiful county. I mean, as a county council at large, that means you have to be pretty much everywhere that Julie is. What have you been seeing with these kind of situations, like trash everywhere?
Well, you know, we see a lot of trash on the side of the road, and it's because COVID exists in the vans where they do community service. You know, when you get a DUI, or when you screw up in society and you have to go to court, and they're like, you need to do X amount of hours of community service. Mm-hmm. Well, when you go there, you go to the deputy department, and then they put you in a van. Well, apparently in that van, coronavirus still exists. Now, I don't know if that has changed now, and hopefully it has, but you know, that's why we've got trash everywhere. It's because we can't get anyone to pick it up. And as far as the beach goes, you know, I went to the beach. I love the beach there. You know, that's a nice little spot to go on a date or something. You know, I don't want to tell too many people that, so hopefully no one's listening. But anyway, So I was walking out there, and you know, I got a picture and I showed David where you put the fishing line in the 4-inch tubes. You know, where you're supposed to take your extra fishing line, stuffed with beer cans, piles of mountains of beer cans all over the place, and in the grass and in the weeds, beer cans. And I'm like, this is a community beach, you know, for everyone, not just for people to party. And you know, from when I was talking to Nicole, she said one person travels that entire region, District 2. Only one person. That was from my understanding. It's not, you know, maybe we should have a little bit more diverse for people for Parks and Rec to come down there and you know, help clean that beach up, because you know, it's a nice beach, and you know, we need to protect it from the erosion as well. They at the Cove Beach, they went ahead and put riprap around the beach, and I went down to Wade's gas station. I was talking to the owner, and a couple of people were a little concerned about that because they had the riprap going around the old section of the beach, and apparently the county had bought the two houses next. A lot of people don't know where the Cove Beach is. It's down at the if you go down this road, you get to nowhere, and you get to.
Then you turn right.
Yeah, you may not be at the end of the world, but you can see it from there, right? So that's where the Cove Beach is. Anyway, so they had bought the two properties, the two buildings next to the Cove Beach, but the riprap goes around the old section. So it really kind of cuts the beach in half. You have to go down there and look at it yourself. And now the riprap is necessary. I understand why it was there. I believe there might have been some miscommunication with whoever was putting the rocks in. They might not have, you know, it's just typical government work, the right hand not knowing what the left hand's doing. And you know, hopefully we can address that.
Right.
Maybe we can move those rocks. It's, you know, but whatever we can do to make it a better quality of life for the residents in Wycomico County, because that is a prime attraction.
It is.
And we need to nourish that and maybe make that grow. You know, they bought those two extra buildings. Jeff, I imagine you know a little bit about that, but it'd be great if we could maybe put a pavilion out there or something for a park maybe, because I mean, people love to go to the beach there, and we need to you know, encourage that. You know, the county can make a little bit of money off of that.
Awesome.
So,
Great job.
all right.
Anything else you'd like to say?
I love God, I love country, and I love my guns.
All right. For me, I was about to start quoting the Marine Corps little thing we had. This is my rifle, this is my gun, but I'm not going to do that. Thank you. You know what? I got to say that you have definitely grown in front of this mic, because the last couple of times that I've asked you to speak, you were like, oh man, getting a little nervous. You did great. And you know what? You're going to be a great councilman. Seriously. I really, really am looking forward to that. I don't want to take away from my brother over here, who's definitely knows about business, knows about backing the blue, knows about backing first responders. Jeff Merritt. My brother, come up here and speak.
Morning, everybody.
Morning.
How is everybody?
Awesome.
Good. David, thank you. Julie, Steve. Is he ever out of that kitchen?
He's playing.
He's laying on the floor. He's tired.
So my name's Jeff Merritt, running for County Council District 2. I am the quiet, behind-the-scenes guy that you don't see a lot of. You just turn around and how did that get done? That's me. I like flying under the radar and just getting the job done. James, your experience in community service, that came through research and not personal experience, right? I'm just checking. No, all kidding aside, I love this county. Love the people in it. I was not born here, so I'm a come here. I was born in the People's Republic of Montgomery County. So there's a reason I don't live there anymore. We've had a home down here on the Eastern Shore since 1964. My wife and I moved down here full-time in 2005 with the intention of relaxing and kicking back and just getting a job that would be good enough. You know, we were okay financially. We'll just get a job that covers our bills and we'll be good. So much for the kicking back part.
Right.
That train left that track a long time ago.
It was a good dream.
Most of you probably know we have Operation Care. This is our 15th year doing that. So I won't go into the whole backing the blue and first responders thing. That question is asked and answered. What do you want to know?
District 2.
If it's a hard question, I'll refer to James or somebody else.
I love it. District 2. Well, first of all, I want to say this. I appreciate you for being genuine. Okay? A lot of times during this time of year and campaign season, everybody wants to pose for pictures in places that they normally don't go. I asked you a question one day, and you said, look, if I hadn't been doing it before this campaign, I'm not going to do it now. That shows that you're genuine. I appreciate that. Now, you have been interacting with a lot of people through our 349 Strong. What do you see as one of the top things that everybody's concerned with down there?
There's a few things going on.
Top three. Top 3.
Top 3. Okay. It's 2022. I still cannot find a good reason why we don't have internet access to every home, not only in the west side,
right.
Every rural area
Absolutely.
in this entire country. I can't figure that out. There's got to be a way. I mean, we've put people on the moon. We've been through a pandemic. There's a way to figure this stuff out. We've just not got there yet, and I don't know why. The drainage ditches. That's a big one, especially look what's happened in the past 2 or 3 days, and look what's happened before. That's a problem. We need to address that. How do we address that? We need to fully staff the Public Works Department, County Roads Department. As a business owner, I can tell you that I interact with business owners literally every day, 7 days a week, and hear their concerns about everything under the sun. I currently serve as the chairman of the board of the Salisbury Area Chamber of Commerce. We have 640 members, so my phone rings a lot, and I get over 100 emails a day in all my email accounts. So I hear a lot of stuff. One of the common things that's going on out there is nobody that I know has enough people working for them, including the counties.
Right.
So we can't fix ditches, fix roads, build buildings, and have all these cool projects if we don't have the people.
True.
I texted my friend Steve Miller at Parks and Rec a couple weeks ago and said, hey Steve, let's have a chat. We chatted. I asked him about Pirates Wharf. Pirates Wharf is in the plan. It's going forward. He said, but it is going to be so slow, it's going to be painful. Bottom line is, the money's there, the people aren't.
Wow.
And I can tell you, from personal experience, you can't get the work done if you don't have bodies in the building to do it.
Right.
And how do you get bodies in the building to do it? You need to pay them properly. You can't pay them $20 an hour if they have $3 an hour work ethic. Okay? So that's going to cause wage compression. And I don't know if everybody knows what wage compression is, but you got somebody working for you right now at $15 an hour, and you put the minimum wage up to 20, which is coming down the pike, in case you all didn't know that.
Wow.
Your $15 an hour people are going to have to go up to 20.
Right.
Well, what happens to the people that are currently earning 20?
Right.
You got to put them up to 23, and so on, and so on, and so on. As a business owner, one of the major factors in your budget is payroll. So all this minimum wage stuff is great. You got to get the work done, but people need to live too.
Absolutely.
I'm working with a military unit in Alaska right now whose orders have changed. We're trying to get them a Thanksgiving dinner because it turns out the entire unit's going to be out of the country for the whole month of November.
Wow.
34% of that military unit is on WIC and food assistance. That is unacceptable. People that serve in our military should not be reaching out for assistance of any kind. Their family, now there might be some financial mismanagement issues there, but not 34%.
Right.
Schools
Right.
are the same way. You cannot justify a reason why a teacher has to dig into their pocket to go out and get supplies for their classroom. There's enough money out there. Those teachers should have every single thing they need for their classroom. They shouldn't be buying markers and construction paper and booklets and stuff like that. They should not do it. We should have the money for that. I am all for funding things, But as a business owner, you ask my wife, I pinch a penny so tight I can give Lincoln a headache.
That's pretty bad.
So, I am fiscally responsible. However, I also believe in investing in your business, in your community. We just invested over $100,000 in our business because we have to automate some processes. Why? Because we can't get people. In order to grow your business, you either get the people or you get the equipment. That's why you see self-checkouts at Walmart and Royal Farms and McDonald's, and more of that's coming. If people do not get back to work, we're going to have a big problem. The workforce productivity in this country right now is at its lowest rate since 1977. That's 45 years ago. Wow. It's not the number of people in the workforce, that's the productivity out the back end. We need truck drivers. We need construction, all the trades. We need everybody, full time. We need to engage our workers, we need to pay them properly, and help them live a good life. And we shouldn't have people on assistance that are serving our community or our country. That's crazy.
That's true.
Are you going to ask me anything hard? You want to ask me about a DAF tank?
You could be like James and just volunteer it. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, I want to ask you something about that's starting to affect your area. And actually, the DAF tank is actually on the District 2 side, so
Yes.
that would be kind of your thing you have to deal with. But I want to talk about some things that I've been dealing with down in the community down 349 area. Of course, you deal with a lot of businesses. It's about 600 different businesses a day. I've actually looked at the directory over there, and I was like, good Lord. It was pretty big. Anyway, there are businesses that are starting to come down there that people don't know about. I'm talking about there's actually a place called a Recovery House down there. Mm-hmm. And the communities, they're starting to have problems with it because it's kind of went under the radar. Our councilwoman, she didn't even know it was down there, okay? So I'm going to ask you this question. Can the community count on you to find out about these businesses and, have them come to light? I hope I'm asking the right question.
Yes. The Recovery 180 House?
Yes.
I asked the same question. I had a conversation with John Cannon about a couple weeks ago. He wasn't aware of it. And so we've done some, it's a organization out of Catonsville. How it got down there with under the radar, I'm still digging. I still can't figure it out. Should there be knowledge of it? Yes. Should there be reasonable guidelines? Of course.
Law enforcement didn't even know it's down there.
Yeah. So, and then let's face it. Everybody needs to know this information.
So
it seemed like it was done under the radar. It should not be done that way.
I appreciate it. Actually, it really feels good to know that you've actually already been doing some research on that. We're actually trying to schedule a community meeting. Our councilwoman, Nicole Ackley, will be at that, and I would encourage both you and your opponent to be there because the people are counting on our leaders to make sure that these things don't keep going on. And people are held accountable. I mean, they've had some break-ins down there and trespassing. There's already starting to have problems. So we can count on you. Obviously, we can count on you to actually do some research on those things, and I appreciate that. Now, I was about to tell you to go ahead and sit down, my brother, but since you said something about the DAF tanks, what's your thought about that?
Well, I think it's common knowledge they don't smell too well. The one that's there, it's not, like everybody said, there's not much we can do about that. Any future ones, I'd be against, unless they were put in an agricultural district with a 1,000-foot setback way off where they're not going to bother anybody. There is another way to do what they're doing. Purdue's doing it up in Seaford at their agri-recycle program. And speaking of Purdue, the contents of the DAF tank, I'm not sure if everybody knows, but none of the contents come from Purdue. They all come from out of this county. I didn't know if everybody knew that. Yeah.
Wow.
I talked with Randy Day about the DAF tank, and he said, just so you know, none of that stuff is ours. We take all of our stuff to Seaford. So,
wow.
My research on the DAF tank is, so far, the only people that are benefiting from it are the people that are owning it and financially benefiting from it.
Wow. So is that a stand for or against it?
Pardon me?
Are you for them or against them?
I'd be against them unless they're properly placed with a 1,000-foot setback in an A2 district.
Phenomenal.
Not where they're at, not where the neighbors can smell it when the winds change. Sorry.
Okay, appreciate that. Thank you. All right, so now we actually only have one from our education area, Board of Education. I know Darren's probably somewhere to let people know that no CRTs. I really appreciate his efforts, and Kristen Hazel as well. Susan, it's kind of like with James. I've known both Barry and Susan for all my life as far as being involved in church. We started out in the same church, and the ministry there still talks very highly of them. We call them same person bishop. So Susan, come up here and talk a little bit for us, please.
Good morning. Thank you very much. My name is Susan Beecham, running for Wycomico County Board of Ed District 3. I have a few main reasons why I made the decision after a lot of discussion with my husband, a lot of personal prayer. I'm running number one for the students of Wycomico County who are about 3 years behind, graduating from high school, unprepared for college. Unless they have studied a trade, they're unprepared to make a living. I am running for the teachers of Wycomico County who can't teach because they are spinning so many plates. They're trying to handle discipline, write up reports, be psychiatrists, so they can't do their job as well as they're trained to do. And they're leaving. It's a mass exodus of great teachers. I'm running for the parents who have been shut out of the board meetings and any influence that they can have on their students' education. And probably the last and one of the most important reasons is that big government is stepping into an area that they really don't have a place. It's up to the parents to handle their children's education.
Awesome. Now, two questions I want to ask you there, Susan, and that was a great thing you just said there. CRTs. Being taught in the classroom, which is critical race theory. How do you feel about that?
It is definitely there. It's under the guise of socio-emotional learning, and it is not something that's very obvious to a lot of people. It's a slow drip process. It's young teachers coming in that have learned it in college, and it's being taught to our children. And I think that we need to have an accurate teaching of all history for all of us.
Awesome. And the last thing I want to ask you is, there are some children that don't have to work hard to get passed on to the next grade. No man left behind. That's great when you're in the military. Trust me, I know that. But if a child is pushed through a grade, when they get into the real world, then they find out that they didn't know as much as they thought they knew. Now, how do you feel about that?
No, it's not acceptable. It's the teachers and the parents' job to teach our children and to make sure that they learn. It's not a, glance at it and go, and if they don't know, we just continue to move on. You have to stick to an area and make sure that the kids understand, and they may need some students do need special help, and we need to address that also.
Okay, awesome. Do you have anything else you would like to say?
Not really, no.
All right, well, appreciate you. All right, I'm drawing to a close. Actually, my battery's down to like maybe about 12%. Julie, can you come out and close it out and let people know how are you going to help us to solve these many vacancies that we have in this county, and how are we going to keep our people here?
Sure.
Come on down.
Yeah.
So again, thank you all for coming, and it is definitely going to be a group effort. I think one of the biggest things and one of the biggest misconceptions of the county executive job is that how is she going to balance everything that's going on? And right now, because we have a skeleton crew, I think there's that misconception. So this is definitely a team effort. My campaign manager hopefully will be part of our organization. I had Bunky here who will hopefully be part of that organization. I just got to get elected in. We have a great group of individuals that are going to help move this county forward. And it's about changing the morale. It's not just, pay is important, don't get me wrong, but we have to change the morale in the county. And so I'm really hoping to bring that fresh set of ideas and fresh set of, besides ideas, gosh, what else? Just bringing just a fresh set of eyes, to look at everything. I talk to roads crew people daily, calling me on the phone. I talk to people who work at the county dump. I talk to people who are, just employees, and they all have that faith in me, and I think that that's pretty amazing. And so I really hope to, with this team and the collaborative effort, and not just the administration, but with the school board and with the county council, that we are able, to kind of build Wacomico and kind of make it a whole new Wacomico. So thank you all really for coming. I really, really appreciate everything. One good thing, after we leave here, I get to finally say that we have a Republican headquarters, and we are going to be heading there. Yes, so that's very exciting. If you are looking for signs or literature, it is available. It is right on the corner of 13 and Milford Street. It used to be a dentist office, and Stu has been wonderful in allowing us to use this space. Right. So we will be exiting here and heading over there to kind of do our grand kind of opening over there. So awesome. Please feel free to come visit us there as well.
Awesome.
Thanks, David. Thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate, Julie, you allowing me to be a part of this. But I also want to say this in closing, okay? Let's be mindful that we may have to walk or work across the aisles with people that you really don't personally care about. But to make Wacomico, to make our state for our delegates, to make our state and our county and our city better, we have to work together. There's a saying when I was growing up, before social media, when something happened over, I think, L.A., and what was the comment they said? Why can't we all just get along? Yeah. Truly. Why can't we all just work together? There was a question that was asked to Julie at the forum that I thought was ridiculous when they asked about a split in the Republican Party. Well, there's a split in this world. There's a split in our nation because of social media. Yeah. So let's just get away from the cameras. I love that about you, Jeff, that you don't have to pose for a picture to get your point across. Let's get together. Let's be mindful. Let's pray. Okay? November is going to be a change in this county. And I feel really confident about every person that stepped up here that you're going to do well. Matter of fact, you're going to win. But you're going to have to start believing that. And you're going to have to start getting ready to move from that campaign mode to that leadership role, because we need you. Thank you again, and everybody have a blessed day.
One audience member just wanted to make one comment.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Want to come up here? Okay.
Everybody was talking about first responders and underpaid and recruiting. There is a first responder that's very low on total pool that nobody ever thinks about. Very hard to get recruited, and they're extremely underpaid. And it's a dangerous career. Correction officers and dietary corrections.
Yep. That's one. That's true.
They are so overwhelmed by prisoners right now.
Yep.
They can take over and
Yep.
COs and DCOs, but there's their families in the department.
This is true. This is true. And we've got to keep them.
My son's father is a dietary correctional officer at DCO. And we're going through some stuff right now, but they get very disrespectful.
Yes.
Money.
Yes. That's true.
And when you go for food stamps or anything, they base it off their income. So how does that help the kids? They don't get just paid that much. They get paid just like teachers,
Right.
just like any other first responder. And they're constantly, and I think something needs to be done.
Amen. Actually, you know what? I appreciate you brought up that point. My sister actually is a correctional officer at ECI, and I have another brother by a different mother, but we go to the same church that's also a correctional officer, and there's a lot of pressure that they have on them every day going to work in that environment. Okay, and they are overworked and underpaid. Our police officers are overworked and underpaid. Our EMTs overworked and underpaid. All of our first responders. Go ahead, Donna.
I want to piggyback off that because you made a very, very good point. The other thing that we're missing is the psychiatric help needed by our first responders.
Right.
The police, our military coming home. These COs are disrespected like you would not believe.
Oh, absolutely.
I had a son who did this for 2 years, and believe me, we fought tooth and nail to dig him out because we saw what was happening to him.
Absolutely.
And we didn't want that to be his life. But it was, and this was just a local jail. Imagine what you're talking about, ECI, that's a much different animal.
And it's even worse because veteran, PTSD, and mortality.
And we are not addressing those needs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to. We definitely
Really
need.
do.
We definitely need to keep that in mind. Keep that in mind, because without them, who's going to do the job?
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, we have a lot of parents that are not good parents, so their kids end up in there, and they got that same mentality when they get behind the bars. We're going to go ahead and close this out, not because we want to, but because I think my battery might be at 4%. But no, I appreciate each and every one of you, and believe me, everybody that's running for office, remember what this young lady just said. Okay? Remember what she just said, because a lot of times they do get forgotten. They do. And they work very, very hard.
In ugly conditions.
Very ugly conditions. And sometimes they got to be the only encouragement those people see.
Yes.
All right? Thank you again.